Friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are. We've got another podcast show today with a couple of guests from CargoAI, and the guests I'm talking about are Matt Patot, who's the founder and CEO, and Olivier Verac, who's the Senior Vice President at CargoWALLET. Gentlemen, lovely to have you on board, and especially only a week away from the Aviation Connect conference that we're attending in Istanbul. So thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate you.
Great, thanks for having us.
That's an absolute pleasure. Olivier, lovely to have you, sir. I know you've only just joined over a month ago, but we'll get some insights from you very shortly. So first and foremost, Matt, if you could just give us a little rundown, CargoAI, and a nice little segue into CargoWALLET before we get Olivier on.
Yeah, hi Chris, thanks for having us again on the show. So yeah, I founded CargoAI 5 years ago after working in the industry for a few years for Schenker and then Air France KLM, and leaving the industry. And 5 years ago, I realized how this industry was kind of lacking a lot of technology that were in other industries. So we created the booking platform 5 years ago, CargoAI, which is now CargoMart. And 2 years ago, we decided that the payment was really an issue for a lot of our freight forwarder that are non-CAS, or in some country where CAS is not really big. So we decided to come to payments, and then slowly we extended this to a global payment network, and now we are really pushing on that, which is why Olivier joined us 1 month ago.
Yeah, very good. And I dare I say it's probably long overdue, Matt, as well, you know, to make things on the payment side as easy as possible. So very interested now to see what Olivier's perception is coming in from outside, coming into our Jurassic world of efficiencies and modernisation. So Olivier, what just give us a little bit brief background of your history, where you came from, and why you decided to venture into aviation and cargo specifically.
So thank you for having me. Very excited. I've been working with CargoAI for months now. I've learned a ton about the industry. The reason why I joined the company, it's because of everything that's super exciting. So I'm coming from a global payment background. I was working with a company that was doing payment to small, medium businesses all over the world. And at the time when the company was founded 10 years ago, it was super painful for small, medium businesses to pay each other. And I think, when you say Jurassic World, I wouldn't say Jurassic World. There's some really interesting stuff going on. But the freight industry, I'm talking air freight and cargo freight, all freight pretty much, still relies on a fully antiquated model of payment. You see in some countries a lot of cash payments. I was talking to a customer a couple of days ago saying, with the wallets now we're able to not accept cash and do a transaction electronically. What's interesting with the freight industry, it's a very global by nature industry. It's a very fragmented industry.
Yeah.
They're very large players and very small players. And when you try to get these guys to pay each other, they all revert to very old-fashioned ways of moving money. The problem that you have with freight is that the goods are moving, so it has to happen now, not in a week, not in a month. You cannot wait for a check to clear. You cannot wait even for a wire transfer to clear. And so that's where we bring the CargoWALLET. And the CargoWALLET is really a way for a payer and a payee to meet and to do payment. So many of you, I don't know where you are, what part of the world, but spent most of my working life in the US. In the US, you have applications like Venmo, which is a peer-to-peer payment for consumer, where you have a wallet and you're able to share a cab ride. You're able to pay your friend for a restaurant bill and so on. And it's immediate, it's very quick. And that's really what we're doing with CargoWALLET. We allow a freight forwarder, a ground handling agent to pay each other very quickly and very efficiently.
No, brilliant. And I'm sure now you've seen a huge difference now from what you're used to. Just off the cuff, Olivier, how far back or how far behind would you say the the aviation sector cargo is or was in comparison to what you've learned over the last 10 years?
It's behind. There is, there is a predominance of wire transferring, bank transfers, systems that are a little bit disconnected. But it's not that far behind. So, the grass is always greener in the other backyard. Every small, medium businesses, every businesses have a hard time paying. Paying is difficult. And paying bring trust. If you don't get your money, you're not moving the shipment.
Yeah.
If you don't get your money, you're not shipping the good. If you don't get your money, you're not rendering a service. So this is where it's super, super important to bring a little bit more fluidity in the payments. But yes, it's behind. It's behind because of not because people don't know, but because of the high level of fragmentation of the industry. A lot of countries to cover, very international by nature, and companies that are, from the humongous, large freight companies to the tiny little operator. And it's really, really difficult to get that going. So we hope that we can help with that.
Yeah, and another question. There's been lots of agreements and lots of terms and payment terms, and everybody wants 60 days credit or 30 days credit, or they're not sure when they're going to pay. There's all sorts of agreements that have been made in the past, and people have had to keep track of people's credit rating and good payment schedule, etc. But you also offer like a pay later and also a prepaid option, yeah?
Yeah, and I think that's really to also to come back to the question before. I think the difference in our industry is that you can have you need to be paid by a forwarder in another country when you are an SME, and then you say, okay, I receive a shipment and I'm going to deliver the service on behalf of a forwarder in China or in Thailand. Yeah. And so there is this countryside that is actually adding more complexity, because you need to have the trust into that he's going to pay you when you have the goods, he needs to pay you. And so there is this trust that can't happen when you're in the same country. It's much more difficult. And that's why exactly what you're saying, we bring this instant payments and this trust. Basically, we break this bridge. And that's one of the use cases that we have, because the Cargo Wallet is many use case. Of course, we focus with the airline payment as when we started, but now we see it much more to other use cases. And one of the big one is the fact that, yeah, you are freight forwarder in Thailand, you ship your goods to US, so you need now to pay your freight forwarder in US to actually do the other service, and so you can instantly pay them via the wallet. And the wallet, as you say, I think is not only you can pay via credit card, but you can pay via wire transfer. You can pay, and in the end, an instant transfer between the two parties.
And also the rates, there's no add-on charge, or there's no problem with the currency exchange.
Correct. So there's still a currency fee, but it's very, very competitive, because in the end, the bank, we are much cheaper than the bank. Because again, if I take this example, the freight forwarder in Thailand would put money in Thai baht in his country, and then he will pay in US dollar if he needs to, or in pesos, or in any currency. And because you don't have this SWIFT bank transfer from both parts of the world, then it's much cheaper than a normal traditional bank transfer. And instead of 4 or 5 days, it's actually instant again, because then it's all the local banks that are connected, that we connect together, and that are much faster.
And can I ask you another question, Matt or Olivier? If somebody so the currency fluctuation has been quite buoyant recently. So if somebody feels that their currency is going to get stronger or weaker, they can also do the prepaid or the offset version as well, yeah?
So yes, but I mean, a lot of we don't recommend businesses to play on currency and try to make more money from one currency or the other. The thing that the wallet does, it's a multi-currency wallet. So if you want to hold your money into US dollar, you hold your money in US dollar. If you want to hold it in British pound or in Philippine pesos, you hold it in whatever currency you want, and you can transfer from a wallet to the other. We're not going to give recommendation, hey, this is where this currency is going, but you have the ability through the wallet to hold in the currency of your choice.
Okay, that makes sense. And then I suppose another obvious question, and one that you guys know very well, so I think it's in your FAQs, is how much does it cost, to pay for CargoWALLET?
Yeah, so a transfer between two wallets is $3, so that's very, very competitive, as opposed to $50 if you want to transfer to another country. And then I think the good part is that you can collect also from the shipper. So the freight forwarder can collect money from his shipper and from his customer. They can pay himself by wire transfer, or they can also tell them if they want to pay by credit card. So we give this capability to freight forwarder to actually be paid by their customer via credit card into their wallet directly. And of course, with credit card, there is always a fee. So it's around, it depends on the currency, but it's between 2.5 or 3% for the credit card.
And the costs are typically, so they're disclosed. When you do the transaction, it'll tell you what it costs you.
Yeah.
But they typically, when you have a transaction that's going to take less time, like a credit card transaction or a debit card transaction, there is a cost to it. When it's a local bank transfer, it's a lot less expensive and so on. So it's usually based on the speed of the transaction. What's interesting to know is the hidden cost, especially international transfers. When you do bank to bank, typically you're going to have to pay to send money. You have to pay your bank, the sending bank. The receiver is going to have to pay their bank to receive money. And then in the middle, it goes through a network of banks, and each one has something called a beneficiary deduct, which is going to take a little bit of money along the way. And then another cost is the exchange rate. So we're trying to give more transparency into that and make sure that it's a fair cost. There is a cost, but it's a fair cost. It's not the hidden cost of the way money is transferred today.
Yeah, no, I think that's a huge one, because the amount of times I've been caught myself and someone says, no, don't worry, you won't pay at your end, and you a little bit of this end, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, for goodness sake, and then you end up having to send another small transfer, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that we can collect in 47 currencies mean that we can also connect to big players, and they can, as a merchant, and they can then plug that into their system. So this is also what we are building now, the connection with TMS or other systems, to be able for their customer, for their forwarder, to actually receive money, and they don't need to connect to every bank in every country, because we can already do 47 currencies right now, and it's growing. But that's also the if you compare that to really what happened in the consumer industry, is really what we are aiming is to become the PayPal of cargo. And that's really what we are building now, thanks to our technology capability to have connected all those different banks and payment providers, but also thanks to our network. So we bring our 18,000 freight forwarders that are using our Cargo Mart platform, our booking platform. We bring them to the network of the CargoWALLET. So it means that that's also a huge start for what we are building.
No, brilliant. So let me just ask you something now. Obviously, with the booking platforms that have changed an awful lot of how the old legacy and traditional business was being run. Now you've got the payment side of it, which, as you said, always was a pain in the backside. So now with that becoming more smoother, how is that sector with your, should we say, your peers, your competitors, the parties that are driving the development forward? How's that going collectively?
You mean the payment or the bookings or both?
No, I mean the fact that you've brought this in now. You've got a couple of competitors. That sector that's changing that dynamic. How is that collectively now driving the the efficiencies forward within the cargo business?
I mean, I think it's going well, and and the good thing is that it's not coming back. So what you see is that every forwarder that sign up has some time to actually, if there is a ramp up, and it's constantly ramping up. So, but we really barely see. I mean, we probably don't see actually people that start to use it, and then after a few weeks or a few months, they say, no, I want to go back to my email or want to back to my phone. So that's really the great thing about what we are achieving, and meaning that it's working. I think what was lacking in a few countries is the fact that there are still some airlines that don't have the capability to have APIs and to do e-bookings and even less payment. So, but that's really shifting now. We have airlines that are contacting us now on a regular basis to say, okay, they are missing out now if they are not online. So that's really we're really where we are as an industry, and it's completely different from 5 years ago, where we were really trying to convince airlines to come on board. Now it's completely different. Yeah.
Okay, and can I ask you again?
I can probably add to that also. So in my last company doing B2B payments, I sort of rubbed shoulders. We're not like a forwarder solution, but I rubbed shoulder with forwarders and the freight world, and I could feel that there was really such a need to improve that. So yes, there is competition, and we should expect that there's going to be more competition coming on the payment side, and that's a good thing. If there was no competition, there would be no market.
Exactly. Yeah.
We would have no business being here. So I'm welcoming competition. Of course, once they become a competitor, we don't like them, but yeah, there is competition. There's some good stuff going on, and overall the industry is going to evolve, and eventually, the way you buy something on Amazon or you just go to a corner and buy a cup of coffee is the way folks are going to pay each other in freight. So that's where we're thriving, and I hope our competitors are also thinking the same way.
Okay, and another question to ask, because I remember, years back with IATA and CAS, and if a forwarder or if somebody had a problem or a dispute over a payment, there was certain ways that things were handled, maybe not the best, and then there needed to be a more realistic approach so that people didn't stop complete payments because of a small amount of disagreement or discrepancy. Are you seeing any challenges in that sphere at all?
So I mean that's a good question. We have many conversations with the airlines, and they want a system that is how can I say, basically, they want to be able to take the money from the forwarder no matter what, which is what they have in CAS. So what we are trying to explain is that, there are some bends. So they have also, I give you an example. It's today, you could have like somebody booking for a shipment of 100 kilos, and they show up with 500 kilos. The airline still accept the shipment, but then the bill is much higher later, right? And then the forwarder says, okay, why do you charge me much higher than what I booked? So what we are trying to educate and work with the airline is, okay, we can guarantee a certain amount of payment, but then you also have to have a process where if it's 5 times what the forwarder book, or if it's a different product, if it's going to be a different charge, you have to tell them up front so they are not surprised afterwards. So that's also what we are working with them. So at acceptance, there needs to be some checks, because otherwise you can't just take money from anybody, from your customer, without having them approving them. So that's what we are working on, and that's a big change in what we are doing here.
Yeah, no, and that's a huge one that's necessary, because if there's no validation at the front end, then you don't really have the opportunities to verify the payment at the back end. And if those two steps aren't done hand in glove, it causes a lot of extra work and sometimes a bit of bad feeling. And I don't understand it, because logic should prevail. You know what I'm saying? If you think 9 units out of 10 units of payment are correct, well then they should be paid. The one that's got a discrepancy, you keep that to one side. But I would imagine you've also got to bear in mind that you can't keep doing that with the same parties, because then there's something wrong with the entire process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, good. So, right, listen, guys, we're coming near to the end of this, and obviously you're going to be in Istanbul, so you'll get a lot more exposure there and networking, etc. What do you think are the next real opportunities for this particular sector moving forward?
Really want to take this, or yeah, I think yeah.
Well, the real next opportunity, I think, is really building a network of threat actors paying each other. There is a process that's called the KYB, KYC project, Know Your Customer, Know Your Business, where we have to verify businesses, which brings a little bit of friction. So when you do a payment, we have to verify the actors of the payments. Okay, that's standard operating procedure with any payment company, and of course we have to abide by that. Now, once you've been verified, then it's a lot easier the second time. So the bigger the network, the easier it's going to be to pay each other. So really the next opportunity for us is to grow this network to get more and more players using these wallets to move money around.
No, that makes sense. And as you said, the KYB, KYC, lots of parties are using it now, and internally they don't sort of see the benefit. But at the end of the day, there's so much exposure and so much compliance that's got to be done. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anything else from your side, Matt?
No, we're very happy to see you next week in the show, and thanks again for this nice podcast.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. And gentlemen, thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. Olivier, good luck. I hope the outcome, just like in the film Jurassic Park, is a happy ending, and that you enjoy yourself and you have no regrets from coming into cargo. So good luck to you, sir.
I'm gonna have to fight a few. What's that?
Tyrannosaurus. Yeah.
Velociraptors. Those are the ones in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, they're the dangerous ones, aren't they? Yeah. Well, good luck. But really appreciate it, gents, and look forward to seeing you next week.